Hello dear friends. So today I'm going to give you a summary of lesson number 5, The Snake and the Mirror, and it is written by Waiko Muhammad Bashir. Okay. So here the story starts with a doctor who was a homeopathic doctor, and he had a clinic, and there he was sharing his experience with his patients. So he started his story. So he started by asking a person that has any snake acquired their body. So all were surprised to listen this because that was a very amazing thing and that was a very unusual thing for any person. So he started his story that how he had encountered the snake. Okay, so he started this story that it was a hot summer night and it was about 10 o'clock. Means it was night and it was 10 o'clock and he was returning from a restaurant after having dinner. So when he came, when he opened his door, so he suddenly heard some kind of voice. And that voice that somehow he was just familiar with that because in his room, because he was living in a rented room and he was not living there, some more means some rats were also living there, so you can understand that he was sharing his room with the rats. So you can understand that the rats were means roaming in the room. Okay, so because of that only they produce the sound. Okay, so because of that only he was not worried about this thing. Okay, so he was means when he opened, so he heard this sound, so he just told, and then it was not electrified, and then he just took a matchbox and he lighted the kerosene lamp, and then he went where to the room where he could get his bed to get his hoardings so that he could sleep there. But before that he described about that he had a suitcase. In that suitcase he had only 60 rupees. Along with that 60 rupees he had dhoti and shirt. So now you can understand the dressing sense of the doctor at that time. Okay, and after that he also described about the blazer, the coat that he usually used to wear. Okay, so when he returned from having dinner, so he just took off his coat and the white shirt, which was not like a white. So he just hung up there and then went to his room, that was rented room. Okay, and when he went there, so there he described about the room, means how it is looking, means the appearance of the room, that how it looks. Okay, so it was tiled floor and it was no ceiling, means it was just like a temple. Okay, so means there is no ceiling, you can understand. Okay, and there are two windows also. When he went inside, so he opened two windows, so there he means anyone can understand that what the rats were just taking, means running here and there, means there was a traffic of rat. Okay, so he just get his bed to sleep there, but he was unable to sleep there. Why? Because it was very hot at that time. So he just stood up and went to veranda to get fresh air. But it seemed that the god of wind, he had taken a leave, means he was not on work. So now you can understand that there was no any air, there was no air. Okay, so because of that only he was just feeling very hot, and he went back, means he returned back to his room, and there he just sat on his chair, and then he just pulled his suitcase, means his box. So from there he just took his materia medica book, that is related to medical only. So he just took out and start reading. So when he kept reading that book, so he just kept that book on the table, and on the table, which was just a very large mirror was stood. Okay, and there was beside that mirror there was a comb also. So now it is very simple, means it is very normal to everyone that if the mirror is near to anyone, so definitely that person will try to look into the mirror. Okay, so he just took a look into his mirror and started praising himself, as you know that he was admirer of beauty. So he started praising, as you know that he was a bachelor also and he was a doctor. So when he looked into the mirror, so he just picked his comb and he started combing his hair, okay, so that he could look very handsome, okay. So when he was looking, when he was straightening his hair, so at that same time, means at that time, he could hear the same sound which he heard when he opened the door, okay. Then he took close to the mirror and then he made an important decision. He just took close to the mirror and he made an important decision. And what was that? To keep what? To keep clean shave and to keep what? A very thin mustache, so that it means he could look more handsome. Okay, then because he was a doctor and he was a bachelor, so he could keep all that things. Okay, so when he looked into the mirror and he smiled, he looked into the mirror and he smiled, so he felt that he was more handsome when he smiled. So he made another earth-shaking decision. Now earth-shaking decision, you can understand that what was that? He would keep a smile on his face every time. So this is really an earth-shaking decision, because it is very impossible to keep a smile every time, every moment. Okay, but he made it. He made this earth-shaking decision that he would keep his attractive smile on his face, so that he would look more handsome, because after all he was a bachelor and he was a doctor. Okay, so again that noise came. Again that noise came when he opened the door, okay, when he was combing his hair and when he made this decision. Okay, so 3 times that he heard. So he stood up and ran here and there to find out that from where the voice was coming. Okay, so he stood and ran here and there. So again the lovely thought came to in his mind. And what was the lovely thought? That he wanted to, means his lovely thought was that he would get married. Okay, wow, nice. What a nice thought that he just thought at that moment. So it was a nice thought that came into his mind, so that he would get married. And to whom he wanted to marry? He wanted to marry with a lady doctor, so that he could, means she could have plenty of money and she could have a medical practice also. So, and one more thing that he said there, he mentioned there, that what? He wanted to marry with a fat lady doctor. And why? What is the valid reason behind it that he wanted to marry with a fat lady? The reason is that when he made any silly mistake and he needed to run, so at that moment she could not chase easily. Okay, so this was the valid reason that he wanted to get married with a lady, his fat lady. Okay, now with this thought he resumed at his chair, and then suddenly he heard something was fallen from above. He suddenly heard something just fallen from above. So he could understand, means if anything is fallen, so you can understand that what is fallen. But here he could understand that the third, means rubber tube, just like a rubber tube had fallen from there. So when he tried to find out that to which type of things that it was just fallen there, so when he turned back, so at the same time that the snake just climbed from the help, means with the help of that chair, and he just had landed over where? On the shoulder of the doctor. And at this was the simultaneous, means it was the coincidence that when he turned, so he just looked that there was a snake on his shoulder. So when he found the snake was landed on his shoulder, so he was unable to move, he was unable to speak, he was unable to breathe, means he was unable to shout, means he was unable, means he was helpless at that moment. He could not do anything, even he could not breathe also. So he held his breath so that the snake could not bite him. The snake could not bite him. So because of that only he didn't anything, means he did not do anything. He wrinkled his, means he just coiled its left arm and sat on his shoulder. Okay, now, and he spread his hood. Now hood means his face. And now you can understand this was only 4 to 5 inches from his face. Okay. So now you can imagine that which type of scene at that moment that was created by this. So he became a statue, means he turned into a stone, but his mind was very active. His mind was very active. The door was open. The darkness was, means he could see the darkness in that room. Everything was dark there. Only one thing was, that is the lamp, means kerosene lamp was lighted over there. Only with that he could see the stone, means statue of his body. Okay, so he could see that, and there he could also felt the creator of the world, means God. And who was that at that same moment? That was the no, means that only. And he wanted to write, but he could not write. But he just imagined that he would, means he wished that he could write about this. Oh God. Okay, so he was just feeling pain. He was just feeling pain in his left arm, but he could not do anything, and it just became very hardened. Okay, and he was helpless at that moment. And even a slightest movement of the doctor, will take his life. So he did not move, means you know what, if he move a slightest movements, if he took a slightest movement, so definitely the snake will bite him, and there is no medicine for that. There was no medicine for that. So he was thinking about that, which type of doctor he was, because being a doctor, he had not any medicine when the snake will bite for the giving treatment. So he was thinking about it. So suddenly what happened, that snake who was just sitting on his shoulders, it just turned his face to where, to the mirror, where the mirror was stood, and there he just started looking itself, its a reflection. Okay, now here the author is just, means the doctor is just describing about, means in his life he is not going to claim that he had never, means he had not claimed about that any animal or anything that who had seen, means who had looked into the mirror for what, means for what reason. But here he was sure about it, the snake was looking into the mirror, means it was just looking its reflection. Okay, and now he was also thinking about that, why this snake was looking into the mirror, and what type of decision that it was just going to take. Just like he had made decision that he will keep mustache, and he will keep a smile, all that things that he had made by looking into the mirror. So what type of decision that he wanted to take after looking into the mirror? Okay, so was it admiring its own beauty, means it was going to admire its beauty, that how it was looking, or was it or going to make any decision? Okay, so this was that, means or something else that he was going to apply on, means suppose if that snake is a male, means here the doctor is also describe about it, that nobody could know about it, the gender of the snake. Okay, the gender of the snake, that is male or female. So here he describe about that he didn't know that it was male or female. If it is male, so definitely it could keep a mustache, or if it is female, so definitely it will apply what, makeup, just like mascara and shadow, eyeliner, or whatever. Okay, or just vermilion, keep just like a vermilion on its head. So it was the thinking that the doctor was thinking at that moment. Okay, so it just moved, it just slapped from there, means it just slithered from its doctor's hand to the mirror, and there it was just looking its reflection. And when it just went there, means the snake went to the mirror, so he felt relaxed, and holding his breath, he went from there to veranda, and veranda to his friend. Okay, so he went there, and you know what, he did not look back. He did not look back that the snake is chasing him or not. And even at that moment, when he was telling this story, when he was sharing this experience to his patient, so at that moment his patients asked him that, doctor, is your wife very fat? So he replied, no, is a thin, ready person with a gift of his mentor. And he was also asked about it that when you ran away from there, so did the snake chase you? So he said that he did not know anything. He knew only one thing, that how he had to reach to his friend's house. Means he did not look back there if the snake was chasing him or not. Okay. So when he reached to his friend's house, so there he smeared oil on his over his body, and he just took a bath and he changed his new clothes. And the next day he told the incident to his friends. So next day at 8:30, so he just went again to his room with his friends and some of his another friends to shift his room, just like that, bed, almirah, fridge, washing machine, like that. Okay, so he just wanted to shift from there to another. As you know, that was not electrified room, but I just want to tell you that only he had something which was left there, so he just wanted to carry, he just wanted to shift from there. So he went there with his friend and some more friends, with 2 or 3 more friends more. So when he reached there, so what he got to carry there? Nothing. He had nothing to carry there, because the thief, on that day the thief came and he had taken all the things. He had taken all the things. So thief had taken all the things, but one thing that he had left there. And what was that? It was the vest of the doctor, means his underwear. And it shows that how he was the means you can understand that he was a fellow of what? Cleanliness. Okay, that he was the follower of cleanliness, because the vest was very dirty. But here the doctor abused him. He was irritated by that, because he had taken all the things. So why he had left that vest for him? Because it was insult for him. So he abused him, and he said that, rascal, miss, why he had left this thing? He could also use after washing that vest. He could also use this. So this was the story, and here again the patient asked him that, did you see the snake the next day? Means again, had you seen that snake next day? So the doctor replied that, no, I haven't seen, but the snake has taken its all beauty with itself. So this was a summary of this lesson number 5, the snake and the mirror, and I hope that you have understood. So thank you so much.